Who doesn't eat one too many Hershey Kisses this time of year? But overindulging all month long can be a problem. Carol Lee McGrath sat down with registered dietitian Marissa Chipperino to learn tips on how you can stick to a healthy eating plan during the holiday and how to get back on track afterwards.
I think people associate the holidays with a lot of cultural favorites and really make that the focus of the holidays. But in reality, we have to eat healthy all year round. But the holidays can be tricky and really compromise people's health goals. So little changes that can be made will really make a big difference.
And you talked about just that emotional attachment to food during the holidays. I mean, that is certainly something I'm familiar with as an Italian American, but really that goes across, all different cultures as well. There are certain, maybe it's a pie or some sort of a dish, that your grandmother or your aunt made. And it's really hard to push that away from the table, even though that's probably in everyone's best interest, right?
Yeah, but I think it's important to also plan ahead and negotiate what things you want to treat yourself to. So I choose not to eat things on the holidays that I can get year round, right?
Such as?
Buttered rolls, right? Those are a dime a dozen, but maybe your grandmother's homemade apple pie that you get once a year isn't. So that would be something that you would plan for in advance.
Okay.
And the reality is, too, that we celebrate something all year round. It's just that we have a cluster of holidays this time of year that are a really big focus.
And there's such a big lead up to it, too.
Yes.
Talk a little bit about all that's going on in everyone's life right now. How much is anxiety tied, to the overeating? I mean, there's Hershey Kisses everywhere. There's holiday parties. It's really hard not to grab them.
And it's hard to take a step back and slow down, but that's really what we have to do. And you'll find just by eating slower and planning a little bit ahead, you end up eating less. So you can still have indulgent foods, but they're not going to be the main star of the show, or you just may not eat as much of them.
Okay, and you talked a little bit about negotiating. Obviously, you're negotiating with yourself.
Yes.
Right, Carol Lee, put the rolls aside. You can have the apple pie later. But how do you help people who really have to stick, to an eating plan because they have diabetes or maybe they have a heart condition? And I know that those are some of your clients. Yeah,
so I recommend that if your family meal is set up buffet style, to try to plan it so that your protein foods are at first in line, then your non-starchy vegetables, salad, sautéed green beans, whatever that looks like for your family, and then put all the starches and temptations at the end, because at that point you may not have a lot of room on your plate for 3 different kinds of potatoes, maybe just one. So you get the proteins and the vegetables that are going to keep you full, and then you have just one starch as opposed to 3 or 4.
Okay, but people who do have those health conditions, it's critically important, right, for them to maintain that?
Yes, and they can still have those things. It's just portion size is very important.
And portion size seems easy, but again, if that's sort of your downfall, whatever it is, mashed potatoes, it's very difficult to adhere to that. How do you help people? Because you make it sound so easy, right? Portion control, we're going to negotiate with ourselves and everything's going to be fine. How do you kind of help people manage that, like who do have the anxiety? Do you have to work in exercise or something else?
So it's really important to have a good support system first and foremost, but you also want to try to stick to your normal healthy routine leading up to that very meal. So that means not skipping breakfast, staying hydrated, and sleeping well the night before. And then it sets you up for better choices the day of. And then if you decide to have a little bit more than what's recommended, don't have feelings of guilt or punishment. Try to get right back on track the next day, and that may mean a little bit extra walking or going back to some of the more very basic foods, meat, vegetables, and whole grains.
Okay, because you talked a little bit about feeling guilty, because a lot of people might just throw in the towel December 1st and pick it up January 1st. Is that recommended?
I don't think starting diets January 1st or Monday morning are very helpful. It's about making slow changes. So pick one or two things that you want to change, whether that is not skipping breakfast anymore or trying to drink more water, and make those a habit first. And then we can move on to maybe not frying as much food or eating out as often. So if we try to change it all at once, it can be overwhelming, especially this time of year.
Okay, two things you mentioned. One was sleep, and the second was drinking water. I want to start with drinking water. So drinking water obviously makes you feel full, right? And that's kind of the goal of that.
Yes.
And how much water are you supposed to drink throughout the day?
I would say about 60 to 70 ounces of fluid that doesn't have sugar or caffeine.
Okay, so that
And-
seems like a lot. People say 60, so that's like, you know, a regular little 16-ounce water bottle. That's like four of them today, a day.
We get about 20% of that from our food if we're choosing fruits and vegetables. So there's a little bit of flexibility
But do
there.
you find that it is helpful that if you are drinking that water, that you will feel a little bit more satisfied when it comes to mealtime?
Absolutely, because it actually is our body's first response to thirst, is to be hungry.
Oh.
So you have to drink first and then decide if you're truly hungry. And if you ate an hour before, chances are it's not true hunger, depending on the choices that you made. But I always encourage people to drink water first and then decide if they still really need that extra few bites.
Okay, talk about the sleep. Do you eat more when you're overtired?
You do, because your body has to get energy from somewhere. So we all need roughly about 7 to 8 hours of sleep, quality sleep a night. And without that, our body is really running on fumes.
Okay, talk a little bit also about the period of time between Christmas and New Year's, because there was a study by the New England Journal of Medicine that found most people were gaining that weight. Like you'd be really good, like all the way up until you see your family. And then it was that 10-day period before the new year that most people gain weight. Why is that? Is there like a letdown or something that happens, or just people are more relaxed?
We have a lot of leftovers laying around, and our jobs have the food altar, right, where there's candy bowls and cookies everywhere. But also we wake up the morning after a holiday and have cookies for breakfast because it's sitting out on the kitchen counter, and we don't even think twice about it. So those are the treats that we have to really be careful about.
Because I think a lot of people feel like, well, you know, I'm not going to be doing this, you know, in a few weeks, so you might as well, you don't want these to go to waste.
Yes.
A lot of that is that, oh my gosh, I have all these cookies
Right.
left. I don't want it to go to waste.
And our beverage choices change a little bit this time of year. So things like eggnog have a lot more sugar and fat to them than what we normally drink. And a lot of people tend to have a few more holiday cocktails as well.
Right. So bottom line, drink a lot of water,
Yes.
get your sleep, and work in the exercise.
Yeah.
Okay.
And-
And don't give up
Right.
if you had a bad night.
No one's perfect. We can't expect perfection out of ourselves, but we also have to move more and just be really aware of the choices that we're making. Even though healthy foods may be available, we have to be the one to choose them.